Okay, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Have Bridget Dahl lead us in the pledge, please.
Okay. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job.
Before we start tonight's meeting, we are very honored to have members of the boys and girls soccer team with us tonight. An unbelievable year that they had to have two teams as state champions is, I think, the first time ever in New York State that a small school has ever done that. Quite an accomplishment, and we are very proud of the teams. I believe the boys have won it 3 years out of 4. Certainly says a lot about the individuals themselves, the coaches, and especially our youth program that brings these children up for many years before they hit the high school level. We have a great youth program. I got to compliment Craig Giroux, a lot of the coaches that spend hours and hours of time with guys when they start at 5 years old and develop them to be great players that they are and make Chazy an absolute icon on the map. And a lot of towns are fearing of us when they play us. So tonight I just wanted, as a town board, we wanted to recognize the teams. Had a call from both Mr. Dumoulin and Rob. Apparently the seniors are putting on a play, so a lot of the members couldn't come. They're finishing up, they're putting on some Christmas skits, I guess. And of course with the basketball program going on right now, a lot of people are tied up with that, but we're very happy to have at least a couple members from each team. So at this time, what we'll do is we'll call up a representative from the girls' team. Said the town Chazy board recognizes the Chazy girls varsity soccer team on winning the New York State High School Class D Soccer Championship on November 17th, 2007. Congratulations, lady. You have made our town proud. And another 5 for the boys, basically says the same thing. On behalf of the town board, we recognize the Chazy boys varsity soccer team on winning the New York State High School Class D Soccer Championship on November 18th, 2007. Congratulations, boys. We're very proud of you as a town, and we hope you can do it again next year. So unless you guys want to stay for the whole meeting, I know you're kind of bored with us, so we'll get you out early. Are you sure? Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah. Hey, Rusty.
We tell, we do have some more chairs available now for anybody in the hall. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Someone would like to make approval of the minutes of the prior meeting?
The November 8th meeting.
Councilor Trombley made a motion that the minutes for the 11/08/07 regular town board meeting be approved, submitted by the town clerk, seconded by Councilor Kathy Devens. Roll call, Councilor Roberts? Yes. Councilor Dino?
Yes.
Councilor Devens?
Yes.
Councilor Trombley?
Yes.
Supervisor Speaker?
Yes. Okay, at this time, we're going to open up the floor for public comment session. If you would like to address the board, please raise your hand if I can see how many people would like to address the board at this time. Just one person? 2 people? Okay. Anybody else? Just so I know, Mr. Moon? 4, Mr. Dragoon, okay. If you could stand up, state your name. Obviously, this is a time when the board will listen to public comment. It's not a time where we're going to get into a debate or anything. We just like to hear your comments so that we can reflect on them. And we want to start with Mr. Dragoon. If you could keep the comments to, hopefully 5 to 7 minutes if possible. Mr. Brendan, do you wanna start?
I didn't expect, I wouldn't raise my hand so high. Good to see a big turnout here tonight. Certainly shows that people in Chazy are quite concerned about the things that happen in their town and make sure it stays, maintains the name that it's had for so many years. The main issue tonight, of course, will be covered later, I'm sure. I was asked to partake in circulating a petition, first one I've ever taken around the town. I wasn't very enthused about the idea, I'm gonna tell you right now. Because the issue dealt with the zoning board, a job that doesn't pay very good, nobody wants, but it's a necessity in every town. I have a few things that bothered me a bit, reading the paper every day. It appeared to me that Chazy is headed the way that Peru has been going. And that's one thing I don't want to see, is that we're the laughing stock of the county by being headlines every week over some petty things that should never get this far. But I started with the petition, and I gotta say this, that the more I circulated it, the more I felt there was a need to do it. Because there was a great deal of enthusiasm amongst the people that I stopped to ask their support. I only hope the town board, town council, recognizes this and realizes that the people that signed this petition are all voters in the town of Chazy, and in signing the petition, they expressed a concern of theirs. That's all I have to say.
Could you tell us what the petition is? I have no idea.
I'll cover that. Mr. Gomez, you want to go next?
Well, at the last planning board meeting, it was brought to my attention that there's a seat opening up on the planning board, Mr. Dajnon's seat. And the way it came across, it was already a done deal, and it was already predetermined on reinstating Mr. Dajnon for the position. Now, I'd like to read the petition as it is. It's addressed to Mr. Spiegel, Chazy Town Supervisor, and members of the town board. We, the undersigned, are very concerned with the direction of town policy and the ongoing interpretations which the town planning board applies to the zoning laws of the town of Chazy. The members of the planning board serve 5-year terms. These limits are intended to allow for a diversity of interpretation and to bring fair representation of the wishes of the people of the town of Chazy. It is our belief that the town planning board, under the direction of Mr. Dajnon, lacks the compassion and respect of property owners' use of their land, and goes beyond what the citizens intended for town zoning. We urge the board to seek a new individual to fill the upcoming planning board seat. And I'd like to submit this for the record. There's in excess of 185 names on here. And I'll leave this folder here. Along with that subject matter, there are some ethical questions which the citizens have asked and addressed with regards to that position Mr. Dajnon has been holding. One question is he been receiving preferential treatment through under assessment of his residence. You know, a home of that size with an indoor pool, having assessment of about $162,000 is what I'm being told, seems grossly out of line. And Mr. Dashna sure is aware of running a warehouse business in a residential zone is not allowed. This is also a direct violation of the fire code. If he's not aware of this, he should not be on the planning board. If he is aware of this and has not applied for a conditional use permit and chooses to be in violation, then he should not be on the planning board. I've got to say, my phone has still been ringing. There's more people that want to get on board on that petition. And it's not about my issue. It's not a vindictive thing on my part. I've sat on these board meetings. I see what's going on. I see the direction that the town is going. And we will have no rights at all with our property if this continues to go in the direction it's going. Thank you.
Mr. Dillon, did you want to say something?
Yes, I read your article in the paper on the decrease in the tax levy, which is very good. But that doesn't mean that we won't pay more for taxes, I understand that. But it's a good sign that it'll be about what. I read further in the issue in the article, sales tax came up. And Mr. Calvitis' endeavor here, did any of you think of the generation of sales tax that will come back to the town? The people that are against it and whatnot, that knew what the area was there before they built, and I rode by 2 or 3 times, and it does not create the problem that some people are trying to make us believe. I think you'll generate more money than their new home will generate in a period of time. I mean, these are things, you know, don't drive people out that are trying to make a living from their land that they own and pay land and school taxes on besides. You'll also generate school taxes, generate sales tax.
Hey, did you want to say something?
And Donald Green, I live on Newport Road, Chazy. And I serve on the planning board with Mr. Dashna, have for quite a while now. My career, I've served on many boards, much larger than this in the state. Had the opportunity to be chairman sometimes. I have always found Mr. Dashna to come to the meetings and chair a professional meeting and be well organized and well prepared. I find it ludicrous to blame Mr. Dashna for the decisions of the board, and also a little bit insulted. There are 4 other members on the board. When topics are brought up, pretty much Mr. Dashna conducts a discussion. The rest of us debate. And sometimes we are in quick agreement, things are obvious. Sometimes we have quite a debate between all of us on looking at all the facets of everything that comes before us so that we can make an informed, educated judgment, not something off the cuff or not something emotional. That's our responsibility to look at what's safe for the town, what the concerns are. We had a public hearing on this issue of Mr. Calvitis' mine. There were a lot of people here that raised what we thought were some valid concerns. Though I'm gonna emphasize right now that from day one, I feel that the planning board has done everything to encourage Mr. Calvitis' mind and help him to get it going. But he has not wanted to bend or cooperate at all with the board. when he first applied, his application was incomplete. We had the opportunity right then, and we were advised by our lawyer that we could not approve that application the way it was presented to us. So we could have voted right then and voted it down, and he'd have to start all over again. We gave him the opportunity to suspend the meeting because there's a time limit. Once these things happen, the clock is ticking. And we didn't want him to be jeopardized by that or have his business jeopardized by that. We said, go, get the proper things that you need, the proper stamps, the things that our lawyer tells us are lacking in this application, and then we'll reconsider it so that you don't lose all this time between now and then. And we have to vote it down at that meeting. So right from day one, we tried to encourage him and help him to do this. He came back, had the proper things on the application. We approved it. We put what we felt were a very few small conditions on it to address the concerns of all the people that came to the public hearing. These things were very small, and I do find the argument with them very petty. You know, most of the things he complied with, we asked that the driveway be widened so that 2 trucks could be there and nobody would ever have to be on the road. Did that. The certificate from the DEC said that houses within a minimum of 2,500 feet need to be offered the ability to have a pre-blast inspection. Needs to be offered to them if they want to take it. We looked at the map. We saw that there was one house within the immediate vicinity, one of the people that had been at the meeting, that if we increased the area to 3,000 feet instead of 2,500, it would include one more house. But it would satisfy the concerns of the neighborhood. That's why that decision was made. We felt that this was an area where truck traffic is not expected at the present time. We asked that some type of flashing lights be put up on either side of the driveway to just alert traffic that activity was going to happen right then. Nothing fancy, nothing special. We have reiterated to Mr. Calvitis numerous times that all we're really looking for is a 55-gallon drum on either side of the driveway with one of these $50 flashing lights on either side. Turn it on when there's trucks going in and out. People aren't used to it. That's it. No big burden, no big deal. Just some indicator lights out of the county right-of-way on either side of this driveway to alert people something's happening here that doesn't normally happen. This was another major concern of the people in the neighborhood. We've told Mr. Galvitis so many times, just do that and you're ready to go. You know, spend the $200 on these lights and you can start this business. We want to see the business. The planning board, I feel there's a misconception that we're discouraging businesses. I'm very disappointed in that. And I think you'd need to come and look or go through our meetings of the last 6 months and you'll see we've approved probably 8 businesses that have come before us. We haven't turned down anybody, you know. We've asked questions, we've looked at it, we've had public hearings, and we have encouraged businesses. So it's very unfair to the planning board to say that we're not, and that we're going the way of Peru. Because the Peru thing was squabbling, if I remember, I think it's what's being referred to within the board and their representatives. This certainly is not anything among any of our town representatives, either the board or the planning board. This is coming from outside, so that's not a good comparison, I don't think. But these decisions were made by the whole board. Tom does a lot of research and brings stuff in, state stuff to these meetings that the rest of us use as knowledge to make our decisions. And I really think that, you know, what we've done has been misrepresented, especially in the press. There were things in that article today that were patently untrue. You know, they just weren't. Just one more example of us trying to get this thing going with Mr. Calvitis. After the last meeting, you know, it was determined, and the supervisor said, well, we gotta put a stop work order on that tomorrow. When Mr. West did it, from what Mr. West has reported back to me later, Mr. Calvitis was there. He said that, you know, he was gonna do 1 or 2 loads in a day. He was gonna park a truck out there with flashing lights when that was happening. And, you know, would that suffice? And when Mr. West asked me about it, I said, you know, Bob, you are the guy who's interpreting this. Certainly, if you feel it's reasonable, then you should do what you feel is reasonable, and we can discuss it at the next board meeting, which will be in January. But that would allow him 2 months right now until the next board meeting to operate. So I see in the paper that after that happened, Mr. Calvitis told Mr. West to put it back up. I have no idea why or what, but I thought it was pretty reasonable, because also what Mr. West reported to me was that Mr. Calvitis said, well, when he had heavy truck traffic, he was gonna hire a flagman to go out there. Well, if that was what was brought to the planning board, you know, next month, I'm sure we would consider that, because our concern is that unsuspecting traffic is notified that there could be slow trucks pulling out. And certainly a guy in the middle of the road with a flag waving would be better than even, you know, the flashing lights. So, I mean, we're open to anything. We want to see this mine going, but we just can't understand why all these little petty things are holding it up. Because we think we have done our best to encourage this and to cooperate and to bend to try to get this thing going. So I don't quite understand totally why this has all come about, but I thought that I ought to at least be here to defend the planning board's action, because it is a board, and the board made these decisions. Mr. Dashnow didn't make these decisions. So if you feel that the planning board is taking this town in the wrong direction, then you should probably replace all of us, because all of us made these decisions and all of us are in agreement on that.
Anybody else have to
I'd like to respond to that, if I could.
I'm Patricia Gare, the town of Chazy assessor, and my maiden name is Bayshard, so I'm probably related to more than half the people in this room. Being the assessor, it'd be pretty tough if I gave a break to everybody that was my friend or family, and anybody that actually knows me knows that that would go against my principles. And I would also like to say that although Mr. Dagna is a resident of Chazy, he does not own any real property, so I couldn't have adjusted his assessment lower than anyone else. Thank you.
My name is Janine LeBear. Up until first of the year, I was a recording secretary for the planning board. So I'm well aware of what went on and who was here and who wasn't here. And I would like to know how many names are on that petition ever attended any of these meetings, especially the big hearings. And I agree with Trey about what he said, about all the decisions that were made. I was at all the meetings for over 6 years. And Mr. Dashnow put an awful lot of work. He did not come to the meeting without his research. He put a lot of time on it. So I can vouch for that.
Lily, I don't think we need to get a debate session. We all had our turns talked, and anybody else need to address the board?
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
Yes, sir.
My name is Steve Bayshard. Steve Bayshard, and I'm related to Tricia. I'm a little confused here about the planning board recommendation, or I guess to the board, okay, to have a blinking light at this traffic site. And I'm assuming from what Trey said is that it's because of the truck traffic. I mean, should I be under the assumption that this concern would be the same for anywhere in the town of Chazy? Because I don't see that, okay? You know, there are days we have 100 trucks coming in and out of our farmyard hauling silage, and I'm sure Mr. Rovers has even more than that. We don't have any blinking lights, we've never been asked for blinking lights. So all the supporters of the planning board that are saying that there's no prejudice involved here, okay, I have a hard time seeing that from my point of view. I'm sure that Drew's Poultry has a lot of trucks coming and going every day, as well as Shea Liz Farm. And so why aren't those restrictions applied to us also? Looking at this from the outside, okay, it looks as though the planning board is singling out Mr. Calvitis. I mean, I certainly don't think that he's gonna haul 100 loads a day in and out of that pit, but yet there's a lot of days in the summertime, we have that many trucks coming in and out of our driveway. In the summertime, we have probably 500 summer residents that live a quarter of a mile from us. We have a marina on each side of us as well as 2 campsites. I'm just really puzzled by this directive that's coming from the planning board, that's being directed at Mr. Calvitis. In my opinion, they're off center. You know, and it could appear, okay, that they view a mine or a gravel pit or a stone quarry as undesirable for this town. That's just the way I see it from my point of view, and I think that the board should consider this.
Thank you. Anybody else?
And that's a county road, not a town road. You're putting regulations on a county road. Someone's getting a little overzealous there.
Anybody else want to address the board? Okay, at this time, we'll close the public comment session then. And we will start with the regular meeting. Mr. Faddo, do you have anything for us tonight?
No report.
No report? Mr. Lewis?
Yes, just wanted to report, we received a check from the railroad for $8,992.74. Paving Cemetery Street, excuse me, West Chazy. The whole road cost the town $621.70. The rest was paid by the railroad. Our new backhoe has arrived. It's a 410J John Deere. I'd like to ask permission to sell our wood stove we took out of the garage as surplus equipment for our January meeting to advertise it. This would be the time of the year to sell the wood stove, not spring, I guess. So, and the only thing I have to report is the wood stove, the new wood stove has been installed. Excuse me, and we're using it in the hot air section of the garage. The hot water part of it should be hooked up at the end of the week.
Need a motion for everything we have for
And so,
selling the wood stove?
yes.
I'll make a motion. Advertise first.
Councilor Trombley made a motion, seconded by Councilor Devlins, to allow Highway Superintendent Dick Lewis to submit for bids on the old wood stove removed from the highway garage as surplus equipment to the town. Roll call, Counselor Rovers,
Yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devens, Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes. Dutch? You have anything tonight?
You know, I had a couple of people was concerned about the minor farm road, you know, the curve when you go past from the lake shore coming up. And it's kind of blinding there when they turn to go straight to the orchard. And I asked if they could, you know, put a yield sign there or something to show that, because when there's corn planted in that field, the people used to be able to see around the curve, now they can't.
What I've done actually is every year Mr. Smith reminds me, and I call Tony Trombley and he comes down and he usually plows about 5 roads in, so that you can see it better.
He did.
So we are making an
Right,
attempt
if there was
to,
a yield sign there on one side or the other, you know, the people would have then at least slowed down to be able to see an oncoming car. Because that's where Mrs. Grace Gordon, I think, got in a bad accident 5 or 6 years ago, and there wasn't even any corn planted there.
They used to have a yield sign off in the Dupree Road there years ago when the county changed.
County changed that.
Put a stop sign there.
it's Old Mine Road and what's the?
But now they made basically something coming from Chazy or coming from the lake shore to kind of,
But that is
I mean, I don't know, I mean, you'd have to
That's a
take
true
it to
county road.
Watertown or whatever to find out what the problem is.
But what's the benefit in that? If Dupree Road is supposed to stop and Old Mine Farm.
It's the traffic coming from the lake that shoots across traffic without being able to see it. So if there was a yield sign there, they would either slow up and they wouldn't be out in the middle of the road. Now what happens is they come from the lake at 50 miles an hour and then they shoot across traffic
I know what you're saying.
and they can't see the traffic.
They should automatically
They
know
can't
they'll
see
have
the
the right to
traffic.
come from another car too, but I.
You know, it was different people that have asked me, they were concerned about it, that's all I can.
The right to,
Well, what you need to do is contact these people and have them submit letters to the town board requesting this.
Well, that's what I said for them
We'll
to do.
forward it on to the county highway department and for them to do their survey.
anything else? What's that? Gary?
I got a couple of comments. I've gotten quite a few comments on the decorations and the flags and banners looking good. Do we have a, update on dog control, what we're doing?
Yes, actually had a dog problem yesterday in West Chazy and tried to get a hold of the dog officer, which took a while, but I got a hold of Rudy Miller. He finally located the dog officer, went up and took care of the problem. Mr. Supernaut is done at the end of December, and there is I wanna say a Donald or there's a Mr. Underwood. I can't remember his name, if it was Donald or David or something like that, but he has been appointed by the town of Morris to be the new dog control officer, which we contract with them for our dog control services, so yes.
So we'll continue to do the same thing, just with someone new.
Right.
So we will get his number and,
Yes, he hasn't been appointed yet. He was actually gonna send him on this call yesterday, but he hadn't been appointed by the board yet, so he just wanna send him, so. He's
get
gonna
that on
be
the
appointed.
website or something, so that if people want to, if people need to get a hold of him,
We'll
how will
probably
they?
post it in the paper, put it in Town Talk, we'll try to get the information out as best we can.
But it'll be changed on the website too?
Oh, yes, on our website,
Okay,
absolutely.
right, okay. And how about on Hall Street, the new hydrant, has that taken care of the problems?
Well, actually, we're gonna be flushing tomorrow and Wednesday.
But there
We haven't had any complaints
no complaints?
since the installation, so we're hoping that with that being installed and more flushing, that it's gonna rectify the problem.
And computer system?
Computer system is almost completed. I think that by next Wednesday, he anticipates everything should be done, and he's been here for like 2
Right,
weeks
I've seen this.
installing and putting software program in.
Right.
And, there's only 1 or 2 things he's gotta do left, so he's almost done.
I think that's it. What was the cutoff date, Leo, for the New York Association of Towns? Is that already gone by?
That is in, going through today,
It is, okay,
through the vouchers.
all right.
You can submit online with the form I gave you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and submit online, and then you can submit to the town board for repayment.
Yep, Kathy?
I want to sit on the other side of him from now on, because everything I want to ask, he covers.
Can I say, on the other
Yeah.
side? No, the only, I had a couple of things, Jerry, you did a good job. What about the street lights? Have they contacted us?
No, I contacted them. I sent a fax to NICEAG. Actually went out last night and I gave you a copy of that in your, you should have had it
I
when you
just
picked it up.
looked and I didn't.
But I went out through Route 9 and Fisk Road and there was a bunch of lights right
Yes,
there.
sir.
Yep. And that's what we have to send in and we faxed it in this morning and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lights that were out, so. So I think I got them all. I went up and down the roads and
Just break our payment down per pole, deduct it from the bill. They've been out, most of them for a year.
well, I send them a fax about every 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, I know
And
you.
they take a long time to get fixed. They don't fix them right away, but they'll eventually get to them. If anybody sees any streetlights out, please call me, because I'll go take the line number
But we
down.
need the pole number.
Yeah, so we fax it in, and usually they take care of it. They're pretty good about it. Just takes a while.
Other than that, that's about all I have.
We got a few things tonight. I'd like to set the next meeting for basically paying bills at the end of the year for December 27th. And we're gonna do it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if that's okay with board members.
Why do it?
We can do it at any time, it's just that somebody thought it might be easier to do it during the day instead of at night time. I mean,
Done.
what time is there a better time? What time is good for you, Dutch?
7 at night's usually good for me. I'm not gonna be the oddball.
What about 4 o'clock? How about 4 o'clock?
Is that
Thursday.
Thursday.
4 o'clock better? It's only gonna take
It is
half an hour or so.
Even 3:45.
4 is fine.
Or son.
Yeah, well, I'm expecting a half an hour at the most. To be able to do this, but we have to get them done before the end of the year. So let's say 4 o'clock then.
Should be a
I'll do the quick things first and then we'll get to the longer things. We did have our town historian, Mary Ellen Castleman, is done being the historian. She had some personal issues. So her mom's quite ill and she had to move to Messina. So she sent us her termination notice about 45 days ago, and actually Bob Cheeseman has agreed to become the new town historian, so we have, and he's been working there right alongside her every day for hours and hours and hours, and we're thrilled that he can take her spot, and he's a very dedicated person, so.
You do an excellent job.
Yeah. So we gave her a plaque showing our appreciation for the time that she spent with the town. And she was very thrilled. We had a little get together with her, and cookies and juice, and so she was very happy. Jerry covered, the banners are up. They look very good. Had a lot of compliments on the banners and the lights. So that was very nice. It's nice to hear some repercussions from, especially during the holiday season. NICEAG lights, I've reported on those have been reported. We did get together with the retirees and the active personnel and made the health care changes. Everybody was quite receptive, no problems that we can foresee. And nicely enough, just the small tweaks that we made are gonna save the town many thousands of dollars, so it worked out quite well. We do have Mrs. Ayers who's gonna inform us of a new exemption that's out for veterans, and explain that we have an option of giving another, or a veteran's exemption, and I'll have her explain that to us.
There's a new Cold War veterans exemption that has been passed by New York State. And it covers some people who previously were not eligible for the regular veterans exemptions that we have. And the town has the opportunity to pass that. And there's different levels of reductions of assessment. I think you all have that sheet. The basic ones were the ones the state recommends, but actually the town can choose any of those amounts to grant that. So if you have any questions.
You were mentioning that most towns that you have been in contact with have chosen under C, is that correct?
Right.
Letter C, I should say. Yes. And how strict are the guidelines for them to receive these exemptions, or?
You're qualified if you served from September 12th, 1945 to December 26th, 1991, and were honorably discharged. And you must have been awarded a Cold War recognition certificate. And people submit that with their application. It actually will not affect a lot of veterans in Clinton County, but this was just a skip of a certain time period that people were not covered, so.
Do we have a number that it kind of represents in Chazy?
I think they thought there were only gonna be 15 people that this would cover, so.
I would assume that most of these people are getting up there in age too, and,
Yes,
Pat, how many people would that make eligible in Chazy?
they
That would
didn't know that.
qualify?
They couldn't break it down by town. That was
They
the
didn't
whole.
break it down?
No, that was the whole county. It's possible we don't have any. But if there is some, then, and they're missing out, they would be able to get the exemption.
Well, like right now, how many veterans exemptions are there that have some type of exemption from taxes in
I think
Chazy?
We have about 300,
About 300.
right.
So what, probably half of those folks have served in some type of war or
Well,
another?
they already have it, so they wouldn't be eligible for this. This
Well,
is
they
the-
wouldn't be
This is a
eligible.
group of people that are outside the boundaries of the other two exemptions that are already existing. So they're just adding this
I guess
section
what
of
I'm
people.
asking, basically, if another 10% qualified, what would it, what would it be, the consequences from the tax loss or the base of
Well,
it?
that's it, it'll be very few people,
Very few people.
right?
So it really isn't gonna affect us a
It'll
lot.
be
will it?
insignificant, right? I believe the county is going with the 12,000 and the 40,000, the 15% basic.
Is what the county is doing?
I believe they're gonna pass that, yes.
Mhm. Well, we probably should do the same thing as the county is doing, I would guess, when you start, or what's your thinking?
I definitely believe that, especially veterans and the people of the age that they are currently right now, could use any help that they can get with the, cost of everything else rising. This is gonna be a minimal amount to our tax bill, so if it's gonna be that insignificant, I say that I'd like to go with the county's recommendation too, if that's what they're gonna do.
I would think that's the best thing to do.
Does that make a motion?
Well, you got a resolution on it?
Yeah, we have a resolution.
No,
No, we don't have a
We don't.
resolution, okay. We don't have to make a motion to do a resolution, then to make a motion.
I'll second.
I think it was Jerry Gino and Don,
Jerry made the motion?
yes.
Okay. Counselor Dino made the motion, seconded by Counselor Trombley, to authorize veterans exemption under C, reduce 15%. $12,000 service and just built at $40,000. Roll call, Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Newman?
Yes.
Counselor Devon? Counselor Trombley?
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel?
Yes. At the last board meeting, we had some discussion from Mr. Lewis about the need to survey our town pit, because currently we have a large pit that's not been surveyed, and we don't know our boundary lines, and we don't know if we've been over our boundary lines digging to get gravel out of there or sand. And we just need to discuss if we want Mr. Carey to survey it. I mean, personally, I think it's a good idea. We don't even know if we're still digging on our property or not.
It would also involve, our permit is up this year, so it would also involve reapplying for another so many acres if we want to excavate.
Who else owns next to us up there that?
Diesel's, and I don't know who would be on the east side. Diesel's would be on the west side.
Town of Champlain.
Should,
The town of Champlain.
Behind the cemetery?
should we encourage them to, if they haven't been,
They have it surveyed, or?
Well,
Sure.
you can't encourage anybody to
well,
survey their property, it costs money,
Yeah.
you know, that, but the
Yeah, I
thing
know.
is, you know, when I took over, there's no boundaries that are stated, other than they said
I
a
know,
tree
you said
line.
to go to this tree and to that
And,
fence
you know,
post. And
they had one man up there for most of the summer months, and if he pushed the tree line back further, nobody knew about it. The tree line's in a different spot than what I know it is now, and I had spoken to the person that originally did this, was Mr. Lajway. And, he had no idea, and he's the one that submitted it, so. I just think we have to know, Town of Champlain did get in trouble in their Chazy pit, and had to pay back quite a bit of money,
yeah,
because they went past their boundaries onto somebody else's property.
and there was no proper surveying from the guy we bought it from.
No,
No.
That you know of.
No, and Jim Sessoms years ago actually brought up the same topic, saying we really need to get this thing surveyed because we have no idea.
I remember that.
Neil Carey has done probably at least 2 or 3 days of research for us for nothing, trying to find out, to see if it ever was surveyed, see if it, you know, how the deeds read, the boundaries and so on. And what got me nervous is when I saw a pile of barbed wire fence in one of their debris piles, so I don't know if they went through somebody's fence line. You know, it could be nothing. It could be nothing. Could have been a fence that was there from another side. But I say, we gotta renew our, or extend our permit this year anyhow. But it'd be much better to have a survey to be done with, we know where it is and what portion would be permitted.
We have an approximate cost from Mr. Carey of $4,900 to $6,400 for the survey.
Still, but at the same time, wouldn't it be wise to ask if the town of Champlain owns one side of it, and if Diesel's owns on another side, if you send them a letter and ask them if, you know, they were thinking of having it surveyed, and if they would be interested in, you know, paying for part of it, because it also puts the
And
property
who's gonna
line.
put,
Huh?
It's gonna be triple the cost. I mean, I believe that Mr. Carey does a survey for any entity, he's gonna charge separately. He's not gonna, unless he's gonna make it one big.
The diesel end is not a
a lot of
problem,
work.
that's already been
No.
reclaimed.
It has been.
Yeah, it's just.
well, I think what Dutch is getting at is, if we go to a point here, the other point's over here, and another town owns over here, we've done 2 corners for it.
Well,
But wouldn't hurt
Is
to
that
ask,
what you're
right?
getting, is that what you're getting at, Dutch?
Theirs may be surveyed, I have no
Yeah.
idea, I don't know if theirs is or not.
If those lines have been rightly surveyed.
Well,
they
if
would
they're
know,
surveyed.
You know, by asking.
Worth asking.
Yeah, that would be a,
But I'm sure Neil, you know, I already checked all the boundaries,
How far back can you go back there?
a little past the river. I'm not even sure if you know, if the center line of the river is a property line, or if it's the edge of the river. because each deed reads differently on fire.
So what would the board like to do?
Well, I think it's a good idea to have a survey, but I'd still, you know, I'd ask some of the other property.
I can check with the town of Champlain, I mean.
Yeah, I think they should be asked.
Well, we should ask.
Because if you're taking out X number of yards of sand a year, DEC kinda wants to know where those lines are. and
Exactly.
You don't wanna be taking it out on somebody else's.
Even out of your own, but if it's not a permitted area, you're still in trouble.
Somebody wanna make a motion to get it surveyed?
I'll make a motion. I'll sign that survey.
Counselor Trombley made a motion, seconded by Counselor Devlin, to authorize Carey Surveying Company to do a survey on the Bolas pit and moors. Roll call, Counselor Rovers?
Yes.
Counselor Devlin, Dino?
Yes.
Counselor Devlin?
Yes.
Counselor Trombley?
Yes.
Supervisor
You
Skibby?
don't have to change places.
Just change places.
The next item up, we only have a couple left. We need to discuss, we are gonna be changing our water bill statement starting the first of the year to include a 5% interest rate. We've never charged interest on any of the water bills. And what we really need to discuss tonight is how long do we wanna give people who receive their water bills time to pay them? Currently, right, we're giving 90 days. They're just 90 days, we're currently giving them. We send the bill out and we usually recommend that they're paid before the next billing cycle. So it's almost 90 days.
It's probably
Yeah, but then you're
75
given-
days.
So,
About 75 days.
25?
But then you're giving them up to the end of the year before you turn it in to the county. That they could pay.
Last one's gonna be in by November 16th.
So actually, you're giving them up to the time we turn them into the county, and not,
You're right, you're right.
am I correct?
Because if
What
they don't
percentage,
pay-
Susan, are paid in a timely manner,
Oh,
or in the 30 days that they're allotted?
oh,
We're not allowing
No.
30 days, that's the thing.
no, it's approximately 75 days, because most of your billings go out about the mid-month. Like January's mid-month, due right now at the end of March.
So if they send it out by the 15th, it's due by the 1st of February.
No, March 31st. If you send it out in January right now, mid-January, I put on there due by March 31st.
So you're giving them 90 days.
75 to 90, somewhere in there, depending upon the bill date.
And you're thinking to do that, what, cut that back to 60 days, or leave it at 90 and then charge interest?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should, as we're basically a utility company here, and we need to collect our money in a timely manner like any other utility company. I think we need to cut it back to,
I think a
30
30-day
days
period is what you normally get in any business, is 30 days. After that, they charge you the interest.
sounds fair to me. It's like any other deal.
Or give them 45 days. Give them 30 days.
60 days too, I think. Let's just leave it the way it is.
I think we need to, it's better if we can, I mean, we also have to pay bills and, you know, we have hydrants that need to be replaced. I mean, sometimes we get into a situation where we got a lot of money going out, and I think that by collecting it in a timely manner is gonna help us in our cash flow.
But, so I understand this correctly, at this point, we're not charging interest at 90 days. So really, the issue is that we're going to start charging interest.
That's correct.
And whether we're gonna do it at 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days.
Right.
As it is now, they have 90 days to pay, and then they don't,
And I need,
and
depending on,
then still some of them don't pay.
that's correct.
There's nothing showing.
You know, since you were at 90, you probably should, you know, give it to 60, and in a year from now, you know, lock it down to 30. I mean, it's gonna be hard to change some of the ones that are used to taking 90 days to get them right down to 30. I mean, gotta retreat them.
What percentage do we have?
And then readjust it. I was just saying, I think you might be pretty reasonable, because you gotta give people time to adjust for their financial needs.
So why don't we,
What percentage do we have that, let it go back to the county?
This year, we had
40,000.
yeah,
About
40,000.
40,000.
back on it,
Which
relied on our
represents-
taxes.
Right, and normal, previous years has been around 21,000. This year went around 40.
We have agreement of 60 days for this year, and then we can address it again next year and see how we're.
Which represent 10,
Why not do it on a monthly thing? If you're gonna do,
the average.
can you do 30, 60, or 90? I mean, I would stick with the 60, and you know, in a year from now, you would
I think
been
that's-
at 90, but.
Very fair,
Yeah.
very fair. Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. It'll be after the 60 days.
Councilor Devens made a motion, seconded by Councilor Rovers. The town board to authorize a 5% interest on water and sewer bills, right?
Over 60 days.
Over 60 days. Roll call, Councilor Rovers. Councilor Dino. Councilor Devens. Councilor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Teal.
Last thing I have is we use NICEX Solutions for our electrical supplier, most of our electrical supplies. And they just came to us and sent us letters on basically all our meters. And they're asking, we don't have to do this, but we have an option of doing this. We're gonna be either renewing at a fixed rate of 0.07367 cents per kilowatt hour. But they are asking us for if we would like to join other large municipalities for a small additional charge of 0.0075 cents per kilowatt hour. You can replace 50% of your annual usage with clean energy. For a limited time through a partnership with Arbor Day Foundation, for every customer who upgrades to our clean energy product, NICEX Solutions will plant a tree in a national forest by fire, disease, or insect infestation, and there are over 1 million acres in need of repair. So they're asking whether we want to join this for an additional amount per kilowatt hour to basically, it says upgrade your normal electricity supply to include energy generated from clean renewable wind and water resources.
Aren't they, gas and electric's pretty much generated by water in this area, so that's a relatively clean,
Yeah, it's,
comes out, most of the power comes out of the seaway or out of Canada.
I'm not sure if it'll be that much of a difference as far as energy costs. I don't know how we have to calculate it out to find out how much total wattage we use in a year's time, but, or we can just stay the same. I mean, they're just asking us if we want to join this.
I'd say the same, but I mean, that's only myself.
And, anybody else?
I mean, it's just a gimmick to get more money.
Okay, nice, thank you, plant a tree.
I kind of agree with you. I think that it's, we should
It's
just,
expensive too.
we're increasing our costs. We just did our budget, so I think it'd be a good thing to just wait on for right now, and we'll go with the fixed rate. What do you think?
I agree with you.
Okay, I just need to know so we could make a motion to keep it on our fixed rates.
I'll make the motion to keep it like that.
Ron made a motion, anybody second?
Councilor Trombley made the motion, seconded by Councilor Devens, that the NICEX Solutions bill will be continue on the fixed rate. Roll call, Councilor Rovers. Yes. Councilor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devon, Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Street.
Yes. That's all I have tonight. We, guess we'll go to resolutions.
Okay, the first one on your listing is appointing planning board member to replace the expiration of Tom Dasman's term. Pardon?
We have two resolutions concerning the form.
The second one is for chairman.
Oh,
If-
okay,
if-
gotcha,
if
okay,
The first one goes through.
okay, thank you.
For entertaining a nomination.
This is for you, read some of that. That's the first one.
Mine's here, so I'm not sure.
You can use the second one. if I want.
Are you still waiting for a motion?
Yes.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion to
I'll second it.
reappoint Tom Dagno onto the planning board for another 5-year term to expire 12/31/12, seconded by Councilor Trombley.
That's stupid. Don't do it. There's enough people in this town that are willing to work on this board and plan for this. There's not, this room is full here tonight. Look around, you're not the only
They've never been.
chicken on the roost, you know.
They've never been to the meetings when we had our last, parties or somebody, so that's not really true.
That's not really true. You're convinced that you're God Almighty and you ought to have him put right back for the rest of you.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Councilor Devon's made the motion, seconded by Councilor Trombley. Roll call, Councilor Roberts.
No.
Councilor Dino.
No.
Councilor Devons.
Yes.
Councilor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Street.
Yes.
Okay, the roll call is 3 in favor, 2 against. Motion is approved. Okay, the next one is for reappointing Tom Dagno, who's been just reappointed as chairman for the town planning board for 2008.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Councilor Devons made the motion, seconded by Councilor Trombley, appointing Tom Dagno as chairman for the town planning board for the year 2008. Roll call, Councilor Roberts.
No.
Councilor Dino.
No.
Councilor Devons.
Yes.
Councilor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Again, 3 against 2. Motion is been adopted. Okay, the next one is zoning board of appeals appointment to fill the expired term of Alex Bayshard, or will be expired at the end of the month. And Alex Bayshard has agreed to another 5-year term.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Second is, sorry. Okay, Councilor Roberts made the motion, second by Councilor Dino, Roll call, Counselor Rovers?
Yes.
Counselor Dino?
Yes.
Counselor Devon? Counselor Trombley?
Yes.
Supervisor Speaker? Next one, Zoning Board of Appeals appointment, whereas Joe Comlos resigned for having moved out of town, and Jason Langlois agrees to appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Somebody want to make a motion authorizing the board to appoint him?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Did you second it, Beth?
No, I or Kathy.
I don't know.
Jerry?
Sorry. Doesn't matter.
I didn't hear.
No, doesn't matter.
Okay, Counselor Dino made the motion, second by Counselor Rovers, appointing Jason Langlois to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Roll call, Counselor Rovers.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devon.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Next one is historian appointment, whereas Mary Ellen Kesselman has resigned. Robert Cheeseman agrees for the appointment.
I'll make the appointment.
I'll second.
Counselor Rovers made the motion, second by Counselor Devon. Roll call, Counselor Rovers.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devon. Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Next one, whereas Kelly Donahue, Assistant Director of Emergency Services, requested the town board pass a resolution noting that the Gordon Road not be recognized as a public or private road for 911 purposes. That is, it is unimproved and not passable for emergency equipment, and whereas no current properties use it for 911 purposes. Be it resolved that Chazy Town Board does hereby authorize that Gordon Road not be recognized as a public or private road for 911 purposes.
Where is this going on?
It's in that subdivision off the Gordon Farm, off the Thumb Road. And he also further iterated in his letter that if, at future date, to be put back on, if it, somebody builds on that road and it's widened or whatever, that it can be added to the 911.
So what is it now? The road is just too narrow for fire equipment and stuff?
It's just a subdivision road that has never, they've been put in the subdivision as a road and nothing has ever been done with it.
So it hasn't been turned over to the town?
No,
So it's
it's
a
a
private
private, it's a
road?
private.
So 911 wants to keep it that way?
Right, they just don't wanna have to be listing it on their 911 address without anybody living there.
I'll make
I'll second.
Counselor Dino made the motion, second by Counselor Trombley. Roll call, Counselor Rovers.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devon.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Okay, next one is for the year-end resolution. I believe it's to be Thursday, December 27th.
4 p.m.
At 4 p.m.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Counselor Dino made the motion, second by Counselor Trombley for the year-end meeting resolution. Roll call, Counselor Rovers. Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devon.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Next one is authorization of town official to attend annual Association of Town meetings in New York City. At this time, the only one that has requested is Code Officer Robert West.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Dino made the motion, seconded by Counselor Devons. Roll call, Counselor Rovers.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devons.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Next one is the organizational meeting, January 2008. I have it on there. It's Usually we do it the second Monday in January, but that's up to you if you want to move it earlier. I guess we'd like it as soon as possible after the first of the year, the state would. But it's up to you if you want to stick with that date or go with an earlier.
Our regular meeting's on what, is that?
Second Monday, that'd be
That's the
that.
second Monday,
that'd be
same
the-
meeting?
That's as late as it can be.
It's time of day, at the
I'd
same
say
time.
leave it.
So January 14th at 7 PM.
I'll make a motion.
Counselor Dino made the motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Devens seconded it for the organizational meeting resolution for 2008. Roll call, Counselor Rovers.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devens.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Next one is listing of budget transfers you have in front of you.
I'll make a motion, budget transfers.
I'll second.
Counselor Trombley made the motion, second by Counselor Devens on the budget transfers. Roll call, Counselor Rovers.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devens.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel. And the last one is for the payment of claims.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Dino, please second.
I'll second.
Counselor Dino.
Oh, okay.
Counselor Devens made the motion, second by Counselor Dino on payment of claims. Roll call, Counselor Rovers.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devens.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Dino. Spiegel.
Thank you.
I knew I'd get doing that.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to move
That's it for resolution.
That's it, I'll make these, audit bills.
Or did that?
Thank everybody, oh, I haven't,
Yeah,
oh, this was the whole thing, okay. Sorry about that.
you just did the payment of claims.
Put aside that one. Thank everybody for coming.
You don't sign it, or you did you?
I didn't sign it.